Okay, so I just want to know if everybody can hear me. If you can hear me, just leave a chat in the chat box and we'll begin straight away. Just need 5 people to just say I can hear you in the chat box and we'll begin. Alright, seems we can all hear me. So we'll begin. I'll share my screen and I would show the and I'll show the first slides. Just give me a second here. All right. So I believe we can all see the course slides. And the topic for today's class is network and data defense. Very interesting topic, and we're going to learn a whole lot today. So now, how the internet speaks. To protect network architecture, defenders must first master the mechanics or how data transits the physical and the virtual world. Data does not travel as a single massive block. So now we're going to break down the elements in data. So we're going to talk about data packets. We're going to talk about IP address. Then we're going to talk about DNS, the domain name system. So now we'll start with data packets. Someone leave a message. Give me a minute. Let me check it out. All right. Seems everyone can hear me. Okay, let's go back to class. So how the internet speaks. I told you the data that travels across the net is split into three parts: data packets, IP address, and DNS, domain name system. So data packets, these are files chopped up into tiny units called packets. These units travel independently across the global web via optimal routes available before reassembling perfectly at their destination. So let's break this down. You attempt to load a site. Let's say you attempt to load google.com. Now, when you want to load Google, everything doesn't load at once. The fonts will load separately. The images would load separately. The text would load separately, and everything will reassemble at the end point. So you as a layman, if you were, you would see the page just loads normally. You think everything came at once. But now, because we are cyber security analysts, because we are in the cyber line, we can tell you that everything doesn't load at once. It is broken down into parts, into data packets. Great. So as we're talking, let's not just be all talk, show action as well. So let's look at, let's say for instance, jumia.com.ng. Now we load Jumia. It seems everything loaded at once, right? Now I need to look at on the developer tabs option. We're going to check where and how it loaded. So you just scroll down, you see more tools, you see developer tools, you click on it. Then we come to here, network. So now if we reload this page, we close here and reload the page, we can see everything that is loading when they loaded it. Some other features as well. So if you look at this, this is just an image. If you look at this, this is redirect, this is text. So everything is being loaded differently. These are cookies being saved in your browser. Everything is loaded separately. So we go back to our slides here. Okay. The next part here is IP address. What is your IP address? What is an IP address? Every time we're always hearing IP address. Your IP don't cast. IP. What is IP? IP stands for Internet Protocol, and it is a device's digital home address on a network. It ensures data packets know exactly where to route. So now, from your phone, you send hello to jumia.com. Let's say you type in the jumia.com.ng on your browser. The site receives it, but who is it receiving it from? It's not receiving it from your iPhone 15, your iPhone 16. It doesn't even care about the phone you're using. It just says, okay, from this IP address. You feel me? So that's where your anything you're sending to a site originates from. Your IP, your Internet Protocol address. Good. The third one, DNS, the domain name system. So the DNS is frequently called the Internet Phone Book. DNS translates human-friendly URLs into machine-readable IP addresses, so computers can establish connections. So I don't know if you know, but I'm going to tell you anyways. Your computer doesn't understand English. Actually, it does, but it doesn't directly understand English. It doesn't take instructions majorly in English. What your computer wants is zeros and ones, binary. That's why if you study in computer science, they'll tell you that we have high-level languages and low-level languages. High-level languages are the English that we speak, and then we have low-level languages like binary. We have quite a lot of low-level languages, anyways. So now, when you type jumia.com.ng, how does your browser know that you want to go to this site? It does what? It converts this domain. We talked about domain in the last class. It converts this domain into IP addresses. So at the end of the class, I will also show you how to get IP addresses from domains. And if you remember in the last session, I taught you about DDoS, distributed denial of service attack, the kind of attack in which you are spamming their site with multiple entries, just like 1 million people are entering Jumia at once. The site is going to crash, the server is going to crash because it wasn't built for such load at once. We'll go into that. That'll be much later, nearer to the question and answer session. Anyways, so we'll continue now. So we've talked about IP address. We've talked about the domain name system. We've talked about data packets. So now we're going to move to the next slide. Perimeter and privacy tools. Organizations protect their data environments by combining boundary enforcement with transport layer protection, right? So here we have two major defensive mechanisms. We have firewalls and we have VPNs. So firewalls are basically like bouncers at a party. They are a dedicated hardware or software security mechanism that continuously monitors and filters incoming and outgoing network traffic. It evaluates data traffic against pre-configured security rules to establish a barrier between an internal trusted network and untrusted environment. So now, in plain words, the firewall simply does what? It looks at you when you are trying to, okay, we said it's a bouncer, we gave it the opportunity to be a bouncer anyways, in this scenario. You are entering the party, let's say, Otedola was hosting a party, and then it looks at you, this guy is wearing rags. Is he the kind of person that was invited to the party, or is he a gate crasher? Is he here to spoil the party for us? So that's exactly what the firewall does. It looks at the IP address. Is this thing legit? Is it a hacker? Is it malware? Everything originates from an IP address. Everything that goes over the network originates from an IP address. So it's the work of the firewall to determine whether your IP is blacklisted, is among the bad ones or among the good ones, and whether it should let you in or not. So now let's do something. Go to word.net. We're going to check our IP address. This is my IP address, Lagos, Nigeria. I'm not even in Lagos, but I'm in Nigeria anyways. So now, if you scroll down here, you see where it says blacklist no. It simply tells me that my IP address is not blacklisted. But certain IP addresses are blacklisted. Why? Because they have done some certain things wrong. They have done some certain fraudulent things, and they have been written into a blacklist book. That blacklist book is updated every single day. Let's say you commit a fraud. The IP address was casted, let's use that word. It was casted, and eventually they later caught you somehow. But that IP address itself is being stored into a blacklist database. So any site that you're accessing from now on or from then upwards, they will check through that database. And if they see your IP address there, they simply do what? They block you from coming in because you're not supposed to be there. You're wearing rags. Your IP address has, your whole internet identity is now blacklisted. You become a bad person. So that's the function of the words, the function of the firewall. Great. That's about the firewall. Let's talk about VPNs, virtual private networks. I'm sure everybody has heard of a VPN before. You used to change your IP address, make the site think you're in Yankee, make the site think you're in whatever. That's basically the function of the VPN anyways. But we're going to talk about it on a security level, on an ethical level anyways. So a virtual private network establishes an encrypted point-to-point connection over public or untrusted networking infrastructure. By masking the user's true IP address, a VPN ensures that intercepted data packets remain entirely unreadable to adversaries. In simple terms now, your IP address, you're trying to visit Jumia. Yeah? I don't know why I keep using Jumia, but you guys manage it. You're trying to access Jumia. And they say Jumia is only for people living in Nigeria, yeah, in, let's say, Canada, for instance. And you want to decide to believe you're in Nigeria, you do what? You make use of a VPN, a virtual private network, that masks your IP address. So on a security and an ethical security level, it does what? It protects you. It protects your IP address. So I'm not saying you should do fraud because it's going to protect you. Let me even still, let me use the word bust your brain. Let me bust your brain here. Anytime you turn on your VPN collects the IP address you used to enter. So if your IP address was 142.168, blah, 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 it collects that and it stores it down. Then it gives you a new IP address, one in a country that you prefer, maybe even in your same country. Now, if to say you commit fraud with that VPN and they catch the IP address of the VPN, they go and meet the VPN hoster, the host of the VPN. Maybe it was Windscribe you used or Node or IP Vanish or PR or whatnot. You go and meet them and they say, Alpha, una commit fraud. And you'll be like, no, it's one of our users. And then they produce that IP address that you used to turn on the VPN. And then like that, you've been caught. Once your IP is gone, you're basically halfway caught already. Just remains for them to track your IP down and have you arrested. That's why I keep preaching. Because you can do bad doesn't mean you should do bad. And because we teach you the bad of it to understand the good of it doesn't mean you should exploit it. So I think that's that about VPN. So let's proceed. So now let's talk about cryptography 101. Encryption versus hashing. What is encryption and what is hashing? These two topics very confusing somehow if you don't pay attention anyways. So these are concealment methods using mathematical transformations. So hashing is a one-way thing. It's just basically a mathematical algorithm that processes input data of any size and converts it into a fixed length alphanumeric string. Loads of English. Calm down, I'll break it down. So it's computationally impossible to reverse a hash to its original form. So let's say I sent you a file, yeah, and I give you a hash. The file has a hash, yeah. You receive it. How do you make sure that that file has not been tampered with? Before something gets to you, pass it over the internet. Anybody can intercept it if you know how to. You can intercept data packets, those packets we talked about earlier. You can intercept it, modify it, and then pass it back to you. And then you'll be like, so far it came from the net, it must be safe. Not really. Once they've intercepted and they've made changes to it, you wouldn't know, except the file has a hash. Then you compare the hashes. Downloaded a video, it has a hash. You compare it to the original file. If the two hashes match, it means it has not been tampered with. Then we have encryption. Encryption is two ways. The process of scrambling plain text into an unreadable format known as ciphertext, that is encryption. So I converted hello into a bunch of unreadable words. When it reaches the receiver can do what? In turn, convert the unreadable text back to the hello. That's how encryption works. Let's take an example of WhatsApp. You send a text on WhatsApp to your friend. To you is in hello in English. To your friend is still the same hello in English. But over the web, over the network, it's not written in English at all. It's a bunch of gibberish, star hash comma, maybe something like percentage, x1, percentage. To the regular person, to the regular sane, average, normal person, it doesn't make sense. It's just a bunch of strings, a bunch of random numbers, a bunch of random characters. But to the network, it understands exactly what it's doing because it's what is end-to-end encrypted. I think someone sent a message. Let me check that out. I don't know. Can everybody hear me? Since some people are... You can't hear anything. Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay, wonderful. Mr. Chinedu. Okay, back to encryption. So it's basically turning plain text into unreadable format and then back to plain text when it reaches the receiver. So this mechanism is explicitly designed to be reversed, to be decrypted through the deployment of specific cryptographic keys. It's not going to, if you send a message to your friend, I'm not going to receive it. Why? Because it's end-to-end encrypted and only your friend's line has the cryptographic key to decrypt that message. So even if I manage to intercept it, I don't understand it and I cannot even convert it to a format that I would understand. Why? Because I do not have that cryptographic keys. So the primary use case is for sending secure communications, protecting data in transit, and safeguarding sensitive files at rest. Very simple, very easy to understand. Okay. So we move on to PKI, public key infrastructure. So modern web economies, online banking, secure protocols like HTTPS as hypertext transfer protocol secured. We rely entirely on asymmetric encryption. So this architecture does what? It uses a mathematically linked pair of keys to manage data security. So we have two types of keys. We have the public key and the private key. The public key is distributed openly to the world. Anyone with this key can encrypt a message, right? But the private key is kept strictly confidential on your local device. So only this key possesses the mathematical capability to decrypt messages locked by its corresponding public key. That leads us back to what I was saying about WhatsApp. Anybody can send you a message, but nobody else except the person you send the message to can decrypt the message that you sent to someone else. Don't know if that understands. Let me see if there's any. Oh, definitely, I would retouch on that. I'd retouch on that. That would be when I'm done with this slide. Just give me a second here. All right. So that's that on public key infrastructure. So I'll be moving on. To how to check the IP address before we move on to the live scenario. So I'll just teach you that really quickly. So I hope everybody can see my screen. Just comment down if you can still see my screen. We're going to move on to the practical things. Alright, since you can still see my screen. Wonderful. Is Anonymous not in class today? He was in class the other time. Anyways, that's fine. So now I'm going to teach you how you, oh, wonderful, Anonymous. I'm going to teach you how you're going to unravel, a domain to an IP address. So just the same way your browser converts the domains you type in to IP addresses, I'm going to be doing similar. So I'm using a MacBook right now, but on a regular PC, on a Windows PC, you would open CMD. But here I'll be opening terminal. So just search for terminal here. If you're using a Mac. You're not scamming. Anyways, so we do the command called nslookup. What does nslookup do? It checks the domain name service to do what? To be able to acquire the IP address behind a domain. So once again, we use Jumia, for example. I don't know why I'm going to use it again. So nslookup, jumia.com.ng. Now we have the IP address, 192.168.0.1. We have the IP address. If we were going to conduct a DDoS attack on Jumia, we can do it very simply now that we have their IP address. Do you understand? Very good. We're not doing that because it's illegal. Anyways. So now, as I was telling you before too, whenever you load a website, it doesn't load at once. And there are so many ways. There are so many passages that your data packets go through before they land at your destination. Okay. So now, we're going to do what we call trace routes. We're going to trace how many places your data packets go through before they come back to you. So we just do this. Okay, gmail.com. So now your terminal or your command prompt is going to do what? It's going to check how many different portals that it passes through before it reaches you. So here it says 64 hops. So your data goes through 64 different passages before it lands back on your device. So we as analysts, cybersecurity analysts, are not attackers. Attackers can make use of this to their own good. Obviously, I'm not going to teach you how it's done, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to enlighten you. As ethical hackers that we are, as cybersecurity professionals that we are, we're going to look through these data passages and how we can use them for good. On the attacker side, you can make bad use of it by doing what? By looking for vulnerable IP addresses here. You can perform DDoS attacks, can take down their servers very simply, very easily. Okay, so if we leave this to run, it's going to go through all 64 different passages that it has to go through before data gets back to your browser. Okay. So we don't have to leave this to run, but very simply on how it is done. Definitely, I'm going to do a recap, and maybe next time try not to come late to class because you're going to miss a lot. So I cancel that. So I'm just going to get back to the slide. So I can go back to slide 2 3 times. Everybody's going to understand by fire whether you like it or not. So now, thinking first, the coffee shop intercept. This is a live scenario. Yes, so I want everybody to think. Drop your pen and paper. Just think with me. A CEO is working at a local coffee shop on public Wi-Fi. All those free, dirty Wi-Fi that are always in those open Wi-Fi, no password. It will be trying to enter and using free Wi-Fi. Little do you know your information is being passed over these networks. So a malicious actor sits nearby using a packet sniffer to intercept network traffic. The CEO logs into their company portal and downloads a highly confidential financial report. So now your task, explain exactly how a VPN would have protected the data in transit. Furthermore, explain how the CEO could use a hash to verify the downloaded file wasn't tampered with by the attacker. So I'll go over the scenario again, and then I want to hear some opinions from you as well. So a CEO is working at a local coffee shop on public Wi-Fi. A malicious actor, that is a red hat hacker or a black hat hacker, sits nearby using a packet sniffer to intercept network traffic. The CEO logs into the company portal and downloads a highly confidential financial report. Your task is to explain exactly how a VPN could have protected the data in transit. Furthermore, explain how the CEO could use a hash to verify the downloaded file wasn't tampered with by the attacker. So I want to hear opinions from you, and then I'll give you my ultimate opinion as well. Yeah, so now where they use free Wi-Fi. It's not exactly a great idea. So I want to hear opinions. I'll just give 5 minutes for you all to type your opinions, and then I would give VPN IP address. Good. Another opinion. How does the hash verify file integrity? I also want to hear that as well. VPN protects your IP address by hiding it. Okay, by masking it actually. Most things in sharp. So how does the hash verify your file integrity? I want to hear that. It's why you come late to class. Okay, so anyways, I would continue. Seems not everybody is following along. You don't know what the hash is. We explained all that, but it's not an issue. We'll go over that. So how does the VPN protect the data? A VPN encapsulates all data packets. So everything originating from your IP address is being hidden, is being masked by a new IP address before it travels through the local Wi-Fi. So even if the attacker can intercept the packets via their packet sniffer, that's making use of them Wireshark Those ones are Linux tools. I would probably get into that. I don't know how long. I think this your academy is 4 weeks. I don't know if time will permit for that, anyways. So while the attacker can still intercept the packets via their packet sniffer, the contents would appear as randomized. They will appear as cryptographic noise, completely protecting confidentiality. Do you guys still remember the CIA triad I taught from last class? Confidentiality, integrity, and what? You guys are not following. Confidentiality, integrity, and what? I think someone typed something. Sorry. And availability. Very good, very good, very good. You guys are following. You guys are hot. Very good, very good. So now, how does the hash verify file integrity? The corporate portal can display a pre-calculated SHA-25, SHA-256. That's an hashing mechanism. You have a lot of hashing mechanisms. So SHA-256 is one of them. So the corporate portal that is downloading the financial report from can display a pre-calculated hash next to the file download link. So once the file is downloaded, CEO can generate a hash of the local file on their Windows laptop. So if the locally generated hash matches the one on the portal, the CEO can know with absolute certainty that the attacker did not modify or inject malware into the document during transit, protecting what's part of the CIA triad, protecting integrity. Are you following? Is everyone following? Come again. Okay. Okay, very good. I'll come again. So how does a VPN protect your data? A VPN encapsulates and hides all the data packets originating from the CEO's machine. So before it even travels over that free Wi-Fi that he's using, it is being encrypted by the VPN. So even if the attacker can even manage to intercept, to be looking at what's not lost, it's not going to even understand what it's intercepting because it's going to be what? It's going to be randomized by this new IP address. Very good. So this protects confidentiality of information. So how does the hash verify file integrity? The corporate portal where he's downloading the file from here will give him a SHA-256 hash. You now display it to him. So whenever he downloads it on his laptop, he can also do what? Generate another hash on his laptop and compare the hashes. The moment someone modifies it, the hash is going to change as well. So there's no way, once the two hashes are not matching, he can know that what someone has tampered with his document, with his financial report. So I believe that should be clear now. Great. So I want to move to the next one. I don't know. Did everybody do their assignments? That's a very valid thing. Did you guys do your assignments? Anonymous said yes. Huh. I didn't receive your assignment anyways. I think only link to post it. Admin should have been in touch, but that's not an issue. Admin will definitely still be in touch with you. So as for to pass week 2 now, you are going to need to complete the following architectural exercise. First one is the scenario. So the scenario is you are designing a secure remote work policy for a new tech firm. So you are going to write a standard operating procedure, that's an SOP, explaining the login flow. So the requirements, you are going to describe where a firewall sits in a network, mandate when an employee must activate their VPN, and explicitly state whether the company database should store employee passwords using encryption or using hashing, and justify why that should be so. So you tell me your reason and you tell me why. So I do things I want to hear. Okay. Okay, so wonderful. Oh, you were not in the last class. Quite unfortunate. The recording will be posted, definitely. You'll post the recording of last class for you. So I'll just recap where I started from this class. I'll take question and answers and the other Airbnbs, you feel me? So I'm going to start from the beginning of this class again, just for the benefit of those who weren't here. So welcome back again to the class. I'll be your tutor, Akintunde Abdullah. Yes, obvious. And the topic for this week is network and data defense. Hosted by MS Virtual Academy. and this is your second out of 4 weeks that will be with you as your tutor for cybersecurity. So now, firstly, we're going to discuss on how the internet speaks. How does the internet talk? How do we communicate with the internet? How do we communicate with the global network? So we said to protect network infrastructure, to protect network architecture, defenders, you and I, must first master the mechanics of how. Oh, just give me a second. Just give me a second here. I think I have to. Just give me a second here. Yeah, I'm still here. Just give me a few minutes. I want to try and set something up and then we'll continue with the class. Okay, wonderful. I'm back and I hope you can all hear me. Let's get right back into it. Do, just had to do a couple of things, yeah. Sorry, I deeply apologize. Yo, English get as it be. Anyhow, so back to how the internet. So to defend the network, you must first understand how data travels across it, right? Okay. So now, how do we understand a network? We said network is divided into three parts: data packets, IP addresses, and DNSs. That's the domain name systems. So data packets are files that are chopped up into tiny units. So these units travel independently across the global web via the most optimal routes available before reassembling perfectly at their destination. And when I was explaining the first time, I made example of a website. When you want to load into a website, everything doesn't load in at once. Text loads different, font loads different, um, images load different. Now I gave an example of Jumia, but this time I'm changing it. I don't know, I'm angry. I don't want Jumia again. Let's use, for instance, let's say facebook.com. Facebook.com. So it's loading now. You see the image loaded last, some things were loading one before the other. So now if we come over here under more tools and we select developer tools, here we can inspect so many things here. We can inspect the elements of the site, we can edit things. In fact, if I come over here and I select this here, I can edit things on the page, although I'll be editing it for just myself. Well, just give me a minute here. Let me. Okay. Over here, select.
It could be like those roads when the person do model, the road will be like
Just give me a second. Let me show you something cool.
something like that.
So now, even we can edit things for ourselves here. So if you come here, right click here. Come over here, right click and select inspect. Can always come and edit the name for ourselves. So you can say welcome to whatever app name you want to be there. So this is not part of the tutorial, just an extra. Just give me a minute. I don't know why it's laggy like this.
All those express. So it be like so wireless this guy doesn't feel like but you go dey follow am talk you no go never dey always answer you go just dey na one of my guys that àwọn abá sọ̀rọ̀ kò ní dáhùn ní you only dey reply to the one wey.
Sorry for the noise bits. Anyways, let's get on with class. I don't want to distract everything from going on. Anyways, when you load in a page, you can see things are being loaded one after the other. Here, this is XHR, these are script files, these are script files, this is an icon file, this is fonts being loaded, these are scripts being loaded. So all these are everything loading one after the other. These are called data packets. So all data packets. So I would answer all the questions afterwards. So let's get back to it. The next one we have IP address and domain name system. So an IP address is a device's digital home address on a network. So every time you connect to the internet, you have your IP address. We have two types of IP addresses. We have the IPv4 IP address and the IPv6. One is routed to your device and one is routed to your internet. So when you commit a crime, a cyber crime, and your IP address is being logged, your IP address can be used to find your nearest approximate location. That's why we urge every one of you not to partake in cybercrime if you are caught on your own. I didn't teach you anything. Anyways, the next thing here we have DNS, we have the domain name system, frequently called the Internet Phone Book. Your DNS translates human-friendly URLs into machine-readable IP addresses. And that was where I was discussing the types of languages that we have, the kind of, how should I put it? The types of languages we have. We have high-level languages and we have low-level languages. Low-level languages are what the computer actually understands. That's binary, the zeros and ones. The high-level languages are English, Spanish, the ones we actually speak, and then we have some programming languages that still fall under high-level languages as well. So now, what do we do? How do we understand it a bit more? When you type in facebook.com here, your laptop doesn't actually go to facebook.com. It goes to the IP address behind facebook.com. Try, for example, here. Let's see. Instagram.com. You see how everything is being loaded step by step. This is how data packets being transmitted anyways. So now, what is the IP address behind Instagram.com? Let's say, for instance, we're not doing it, but we're going to explain it to you. The distributed denial of service attack, whereby you ping a website to more than the amount of people it can take, the capacity of the website, of the server behind the website. let's say something like Instagram now. Instagram is a huge platform. If we were to attack something like gg.com.ng, Gigi doesn't expect 1 million people to be on the website at the same exact time. So what do? We spam it with 1,000 different IP addresses. The same request that we're making over and over and over again. At some point, the server cannot meet up anymore. And what does it do? It crashes. That's when you hear they've crashed the server. Something was about to launch, they crashed it. You're about to have tests online and they crashed the server, like that. How do you crash servers? I'm not teaching you. But how to understand the attack and how to prevent it from happening. Yes, I'm going to teach you. Wonderful. So what else? Yes, so how do we figure out the IP address behind this domain? So once again, if you're on, yes, I'm not teaching you. Once again, if you're on Mac, you go to your terminal. If you're on Windows, you go to your CMD. So we do what we call NS lookup. NS stands for name service, NS lookup, and then we do Instagram.com. We hit enter. This IP address is of the server, and this is of the website. This particular domain is here. The server that hosts everything that Instagram is on is here. If you're to attack Instagram, this IP. We're not attacking anybody here. I'm just telling you for instance you were to. If you were to attack them. Anyways. So this is the IP address that your laptop actually visits to be able to come to Instagram.com. Do you understand? So we'll go back to the handout now. So now we move on to. So I've discussed IP address, I've discussed data packets, and I've discussed DNS, domain name service. Next, perimeter and privacy tools. And in this slide prepared by MS Virtual Academy, and I was given to me, or I'm going to be looking at just two privacy tools. We have the firewalls and we have the VPNs. So what are firewalls? We gave an example of a bouncer at a party. And I said, if Botedola was hosting a party, and then he told the bouncers, don't worry, there's no even ticket. Just look at how people are dressed and then allow them in based on how they are dressed. And for instance, Anonymous comes with his torn clothes and he comes to the gates. The bouncers, in this case, the firewalls, they'll look at him and they'll say, you know this Anonymous that they caught stealing last week. Don't let him in. You deny him access because he's registered in the blacklist. So he's denied access. And then somebody on the good side, somebody like Chinedu, hopefully, if he's a good person, he comes in and they look at him just in senator, just in suits. They let him in based on how he's dressed and because he doesn't have any records in the blacklist. Do you understand? So let me give you the big English behind it. So the firewalls are dedicated hardware or software security mechanisms that continuously monitors and filters incoming and outgoing network traffic to evaluate data traffic against pre-configured security rules to establish a barrier between an internal trusted network and an untrusted environment. Firewalls commonly block malicious traffic by target IP addresses or explicit communication ports. Do you understand that? I want to answer, please. Do you understand that? I move on. You're not a good citizen. Nothing for you. Okay, great. Seems everybody understands that. So we'll move on to the VPNs, the tunnels. So now, the VPN. How does the VPN work as a privacy tool? Anytime you access a website, from your IP address, he's from Lagos, Nigeria. If you are using a Mac, it's going to show your operating system. Anything you do on the website can be logged based off of the device you are accessing the website from. So now your IP address is logged in, and this IP address consists of your current location, your current approximate location. So if you use a VPN routed to perhaps another country, you can access geo-restricted sites. So there are certain sites that are just for people in the United Kingdom, just for people in Canada, just for people in certain regions. Making use of a VPN, you can mask your true IP address and do it and display to the website your falsified IP address, your modified IP address. So how is that useful? Well, I'm going to talk about it in two senses: in sense of security and in sense of accessing things that you originally not meant to access. Is it a bad thing? I don't know. It actually stands on the gray side of things. Accessing geo-restricted location, geo-restricted information through use of IP address is not illegal, but at the same time, it's not ethical. So now, making use of a VPN, your real IP address is not being shown to the website, and you are allowed to access your restricted content. But now, for security purposes, now, how can you, as a security advocate, protect yourself making use of a VPN? Let's say, for instance, now you're accessing a site that you think is shady. You don't want them to know where you live. Nobody wants anybody to know where they live except you tell them. So you make use of a VPN. You confuse the enemies. That's the strategy. So now they have your falsified IP address. And also, when you send things, like I told you earlier, when you access sites, packets are being transferred. Making use of a VPN, it encrypts your traffic. So normally, if you are saying hello over that free Wi-Fi that it connected you, hello is hello over the Wi-Fi. But when you make use of a VPN, what happens? Your hello is no longer hello. It becomes commas, apostrophe, hyphen, percentage, XA, something like that. It's random. I can't even predict what it's going to become. But the VPN has done what it has protected your information as well as your IP address, your internet protocol address. And I gave an example for people like Anonymous that I know that heading towards the fraudulent side. I can see it from his comments. If you make use of these virtual private networks, these VPNs, you can still get caught if you use them for fraudulent things. Every time you connect your VPN, whether it's Avast or whether it's Proton, Windscribe, PR, IP vanish, your IP address that you used to enter is being logged. Every time you turn it on, they write down, okay, he came from 192.168.442 Lagos, Nigeria. They write it down. So now, why did they write it down? To protect themselves. Make you know cover them. They have to stay safe as well as protect themselves. So if you decide to use VPNs for fraudulent things, you can still get caught. If you defraud someone, your IP address gets leaked. The FBI reverse engineers it and they find out that from a data center, they visit your VPN provider, perhaps IP vanish. When they go and meet them and they tell them that they committed a crime, they'll tell them that no, it's not we that committed the crime, it's a user. And then your IP address that you used to turn on the VPN in the first place is provided to the law enforcement agents, and from there, you can guess the next line of action. You're sleeping in Kirikiri, and if you are lucky enough, you'll extradite you, you get to visit the US for the first and last time while you serve your jail term. Easy as that. So, I think that's understood. Does everybody understand how VPNs work? Not only VPNs, but also um, not only VPNs, but also firewalls. Does everybody understand how they work? Yes, sir. Okay, great. So I'll explain VPN one more time because Anonymous doesn't get it. Lucky boy. So as I was saying, VPNs are virtual private networks. Not only do they mask your real IP address, not only do they hide your real IP address from websites and from things that you access over the network, they also encrypt your packet, your data packet. Do you understand? So now, if you access a site originally made for people in Canada with your Nigerian IP address, they won't let you in. They'll tell you this site is only meant for people in Canada. But making use of a Canadian VPN or a VPN routed to Canada, you can access the site very easily. Okay. So now, people thinking of doing fraud with VPNs, thinking they won't be caught. I just explained how exactly they will catch you, and it depends on the kind of fraud that you did. You might spend maybe 6 months, 12 years, 12 months. Nobody. So the best thing to do is to not commit the crime. So how? You're asking how? Okay, so every time you connect to your VPN, whether it's IP vanish, whether it's peer, whether it's IP whatever VPN that you connect to, each time you connect, your IP address is being logged, it's being written down, it's being collected, it's being stored. So now, if you commit a crime, the law enforcement come and then they try to apprehend the people that gave you the VPN, the VPN provider. And those in turn, they will let them know that it's a user that committed the crime and not the company. Then they hand over your internet protocol address, your real IP address, the one you used to connect to the VPN in the first place. And from there, you can guess the rest. The FBI or the Interpol or any other security organization coming for you will definitely find you. Do you understand now? So fraudulent practices are discovered, but information passed are secured. Yeah, that's right. The information is always going to be encrypted over the network. But because they write down your IP address, you can always be found for any fraudulent activity that you do with your VPN. Just give me 3 seconds. I'm trying to plug in my Mac, but it seems charger is a bit shaky. Just give me a couple of minutes. All right, I'm back. I'm deeply sorry for the technical difficulties I was facing. My Mac is charging now. Yeah, the class is recorded. It will definitely be passed on to you. Okay, so rest assured. So what next? Is everyone following? Can you still hear me? Can you hear me? Can you see my screen? Please just like type in chat box if you can. All right, wonderful. So we'll move on to the next. So now after that we're going to discuss cryptography 101, encryption versus hashing, two very confusing principles to the layman, and I'll explain them both. So hashing is basically a mathematical algorithm that turns data of any size into a fixed length string of characters. It's impossible to reverse a hash back to original data, but hashes can actually be decrypted actually. So if this session permits, I'm going to teach you through Linux how you can dehash passwords. No, I'm not going to teach you that. That's a bad thing. No, sorry. On to the next. Encryption, two-way encryption. But encryption is the process of scrambling data into an unreadable format, and it's designed to be reversed. So I gave an example before on WhatsApp end-to-end encryption. So now, on the left palm, you're chatting your friend, on your right palm is your friend. You send hello to your friend receives hello. Quite normal, yeah. But over the network, your data is not being transferred as hello. The network doesn't even read your data because it's what is encrypted. It's just a bunch of strings, a bunch of random letters and numbers and whatnot. So now, how? I think let's not get into how. It's going to get a bit complex. But yeah, let's talk about primary use cases. So what's the use case of hashing? For verifying data file integrity and ensuring that the data you have, the file you have, has not been tampered with. But for encryption's primary use cases, sending secure communications, protecting data in transit, and safeguarding sensitive files at rest. Simple as that. You understand that now? Yeah, I would love to teach you the hashing. It's not that it's illegal, but I don't know if it's something it permits, and mostly the hashing just is just hashing and then the hashing. So if the session allows me to teach you hashing, and then I wouldn't have a problem teaching you how to dehash multiple hashing types using hashcat in Linux. So as I'm also saying things, try to also go ahead and do self-development, learn to go ahead of the class. I don't know if they give you a course outline. The admins give you a course outline, you can try to read ahead. So you even have questions that will challenge me myself. Trigger. Okay, so it's up to your admins if they want you to learn that as well. The next thing we have PKI, public key infrastructure. So PKI relies on asymmetric encryption using a mathematically linked pair of keys to secure data. This is what allows for safe online banking and allows for the hypertext transfer protocol secured to exist. So now, the public key. The public key is distributed openly to anyone in the world. Anyone can use this key to encrypt a message intended for you. So if I text you with a Chinese number, hello is hello. I text you from Germany, hello is hello. I text you from Ghana, hello is still hello. But over the network, hello that was sent to you, I cannot read it. Even if I intercept it, it's just a bunch of random words. So now, if I own the private key, in end-to-end encryption, you and your friend, you both share a private key. Your friend has his private key, you have your own private key. The public key allows anybody to send a message to both of you. If I intercept the message between you and your friend, I can't read it because I don't have the private key. It's just a bunch of nonsense. But because the private key is stored on your device and on your friend's device, so when both of you chat, what happens? You use each other's private keys to unlock the message. But everything is done behind the screens. The only thing you see is hello, and hi is hi. Do you understand that? Of course, outline wasn't given. Right, admin will be in touch. Hopefully. So that's that about the private key and the public key. Then that leads us to, or rather, that led us to thinking first, the live scenario, the coffee shop intercept. So we said a CEO is working at a local coffee shop on public Wi-Fi. Let me relate it to something in Nigeria would do. Okay. The CEO was at work before. He left. He took his laptop to Yarishika's shop to buy rice. On getting there, instead of turning on the hotspot from his phone, he saw TZT free Wi-Fi. I'm not sharing TZT, I'm just saying. He saw a Wi-Fi named TZT free Wi-Fi. In his mind, why should I on hotspot when there's already free Wi-Fi? I mean, Yarishika is in promo. No, like connects to the Wi-Fi. You see, there's no even password on the Wi-Fi. Even better, he connects. And then what does he do? He proceeds to log into the company portal. He has given the email, he has given the password, and he downloads the highly confidential financial report. Perhaps the amount of money the company has made in a certain month, or a quarter, or half a quarter, like that. Not knowing that Yarishika's son, and last born, Anonymous, a malicious actor, sat down nearby using a packet sniffer, like Wireshark, to do what? To intercept internet traffic. So Anonymous at the corner of the shop was seeing the CEO's username, he saw the CEO's email, he saw the CEO's password. On his own side, he can log into the CEO's portal, intercept payments, mess up the invoice, literally do anything he wants. He's already in control of the CEO's, and CEO is one of the highest positions administrative in the company. So now, explain exactly how a VPN would have protected the CEO, and furthermore explain how the CEO could use a hash to verify that that file he downloaded wasn't tampered with by Anonymous, Yarisika's son. So now I want your opinions. You see, Anonymous has started again. I be a good guy, but I can do this to teach you a lesson. What is CEO do for you? Anyways, please, I want you guys to answer the question. Please answer the question. Exactly how a VPN would have protected the data in transit. Furthermore, explain how the CEO could use a hash to verify that the downloaded file was not tampered with by Anonymous. Okay, the VPN would have encrypted his IP address, making it random. Okay, the VPN prevents a malicious actor on public Wi-Fi from anybody right so from reading intercepted traffic through encryption and masking. I can't even be surprised. He's the one doing the attack. He's the one still giving us detailed reasons why the CEO should protect himself. Okay, wonderful. Now nobody's talking about hashing. Explain how he could use a hash to verify that the downloaded file wasn't tampered with by Anonymous. I'm waiting for answers. I'll give 60 seconds and then we'll proceed. Type. You have 60 seconds. Okay, wonderful. Yes, he could have used the hash to compare. Wonderful. So now, if the site, your portal, the CEO's portal, was smart, they'll provide a file hash for him. So anytime he downloads a file from the portal, he should use his Windows laptop to do what? To generate a hash and compare the two hashes. Compare the one from the portal, compare the one from his device. If the two don't match, he knows Anonymous have done what? He has storeable. But if they match, he can know that what his file is safe and unaltered and untampered with. GU grab. Alright, wonderful. So that leads us to week 2 capstone assignments. In order to pass week 2 of this MS Virtual Academy, you are required to pass this assignment attire by force. So this is the scenario. You are designing a secure remote work policy for a new tech firm. Once again, MS Virtual Academy has employed you as an organ to tech firm, this tech firm. So now they want you to write an SOP, that's a standard operating procedure, explaining the login flow. So inside that, you're also going to do what? You're going to describe where a firewall sits in the network, mandate when the employee must activate their VPN, and explicitly state whether the company database should store the employee passwords using encryption or using dehashing, and tell us why. Is that clear? So I want you, if you have any thing that is not clear in the assignment, you can just let me know now, so I would expatiate, same thing. Yeah. So easy as that. Does everyone understand? All right, it is clear. Wonderful. How can one generate a hash? I'm not with my Windows PC. I would have let you know. I would have showed you. When you start using PC, you can start using PC from now. Everything I'm teaching you, you can practice. Although this slides provided to me by MS Virtual Academy was mostly theory based. How do you submit last week assignments? The admin will be in touch. The firewall part is confusing. Okay, let me take it again. Firewalls are bouncers. If the IP address is the blacklisted one, they don't let him in. If it looks shady, they don't let him in. If it looks clean, they let him in. Simple as that. And in the assignment, it says what? Describe where a firewall sits in the network. So, where does the firewall sit? Is it inside the login part? Is it when a user is trying to access things over the net? Where exactly should the firewall sit? Is it the two of them? Things like that is what I want to hear from you. Exactly. If it's only theory based, how do we practice and know it well and better? All right, don't get me wrong. I said the slides provided were theory based. Definitely, I'm providing you the practical aspect. As far as the slides provided to me, as far as they permit it. So I would I'll definitely be carrying on along with this little practicals, NS lookup, things like that. So on your own now, you can even decide to all your favorite sites, go and look for the IP address. And not say you should do anything to them, I just say you should look for it down. You know, that kind of thing. So do you have any questions, any observations, any opinions? Just drop it in the chat box and I'll answer them myself. And before that, before the question and answer, please take a screenshot of the assignment. So I'll just allow 1 minute for that. You can take a quick screenshot of the assignment. 30 seconds more. All right, wonderful. I believe everybody has the assignment now. The portal to submit last week's assignment, and this current assignment will be provided to you by the administrative department of the MS Virtual Academy. All right. So if you have any questions, observations, opinions concerning this class, please drop in the chat box and I'll most definitely reply to them. I can't see it. What can't you see? Sorry. What is last week's academy? What's last week's assignment? Right. Sorry, did you just join this class? If you did, just see if you can chat up with your fellow classmates. Please chat with your fellow classmates. They'll provide you last week's assignment. You like to share your experience of how you struggled to open your corridor. Unfortunately, I cannot help with that. I don't teach graphics design. If you have any opinions or questions concerning today's class or cybersecurity in general, please drop a message in the chat box. Please summarize today's class. So I'll just go through it briefly for one last time. Started with network and data defense. We learned 3 parts of the internet: the IP address, the domain name system, and data packets. We talked about the 2 types of privacy tools. We have firewalls and we have VPNs. We have a lot of them, but these are the 2 that were provided to me in this slide by MS Virtual Academy. And we talked about cryptography, encryption versus hashing, both the 2-way and 1-way. Then we talked about PKI, public key infrastructure. We learned about the public key, we learned about the private key. Then we talked about the live scenario. What do we say about the live scenario? How a VPN could have helped the CEO from getting hacked by Anonymous, and how it could also use a hash to verify that the file it downloaded wasn't compromised. And this is the assignment one last time for anybody that would love to take a screenshot. And that leads us to the end of the summary for this class. Any questions, observations, or opinions, type in the chat box. Today was strong. Any other questions? Any questions? We have quite some time to make good use of. So I love if everybody can ask a question. It might be just regarding cybersecurity in general. It might be regarding brief meanings of what I taught. ISP stands for All right, can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Just type yes if you can hear me, please. I think my network is. All right, wonderful. You guys can hear me. So, I was saying ISP stands for Internet Service Provider. Your IP address is your Internet Protocol address. Basically, your location on the internet is being held by your IP. Then we talked about firewall. We talked about DNS, domain name service. All right, so we talked about quite a lot, and I believe today's class was very informative. Would we make use of VS Code? No, we would not. For the purpose of this 4-week tutorial, we're not touching VS Code. Recorded class will be provided to you by the Administrative Department of MS Virtual Academy. Please try to upload the recorded classes as soon as possible. I don't even know whether I want to threats or big, but oh well, all good, all nice. Admin will upload it for you all. Can I highlight the assignments? Yes, I can. So this is the assignments. The scenario is that you're designing a remote work policy for a new tech firm that you hired by them. You're going to write an SOP explaining the login flow. You're going to describe where a firewall sits in the network. You're going to mandate. Mandate means to make something compulsory. You should mandate when employee must activate their VPN and explicitly state whether the company database should store the password using encryption or store the password using hashing, and justify why. Okay, so I think I've done justice to that. So any other questions, please? Any other questions? Okay, in the absence of questions, okay, wonderful. In the absence of questions, I think it's safe to call it a day. Isn't that today very strong? In the absence of questions, we'll call it a day, and I want to thank every single one of you for being present at class today. I'm glad you learned something, and I'm glad everyone here learned something. Hopefully, if you learned something. And with time, we'll learn more. I want you guys to do research on your own. Pick an aspect in cybersecurity you want to focus on, whether it's penetration testing, whether it's ethical hacking, whether it's just pick a side and be good at it. That's the main thing. Don't just pick it and be good at it, best at it. Maybe even form a team. So when are you getting the note? As soon as admin makes it available. I'm just a tutor, and everything relies in the hand of the admin. Once again, we say thank you to MS Virtual Academy for making this class possible, and thank every single one of you for attending the class. So call it a day here. See you all next class. See you all next weekend. Be good. I have exam. I'm going to go and read too as well.